I'm finding the world quite a depressing place at the minute. We've got climate change scientists saying we've got a window of 12 years to turn the environment round or the planet's fucked. I am paraphrasing there, that's not the exact term that they used. Across the USA and Europe there's a rise of extremist far left and far right groups, and for me they're both as fucking bad as each other. On the news a couple of weeks ago, the Shadow Home Secretary was giving a speech in London, and in the crowd there were blokes with red hammer and sickle USSR flags waving them away. I thought, hang on, these guys are meant to be opposed to fascism, but they support the Soviets. Because in Soviet Russia they had a secret police force that put people into labour camps and worked them to death. Does that sound like any other regime from history? Also, we've got world leaders, politicians, blaming gun violence on video games. I used to work into a computer shop. I've never emptied a machine gun into a crowd of people. And if it was video games that caused violence, then surely, until the 1960s when Pong was invented, it would have just been global harmony. 10 years ago, in Germany, there was a mass shooting and they tried to blame that on video games. Fucking Germany! Oh, because that country's never had a history of violence. I mean, I know the Nazis were advanced with their science for the time, but I severely doubt that Adolf Hitler was playing some early prototype version of Street Fighter 2 Turbo when he went off his nut and decided to annex Poland. I mean, gun violence, it's either religious extremism or mental illness, and they're basically the same fucking thing. Also, not quite as serious, but I've heard today that Spider-Man's no longer part of the MCU, which means that Avengers films won't have Spider-Man and Sony will go back to making utter shite. But there is something to be thankful for, some good news. Because I've actually bought the UK's #1 album. Now, I wouldn't normally touch anything deemed pop music, and if I accidentally knock on Radio 1, I'll either drive into a tree or find that I've vomited into my own mouth. But this is the UK's #1 album. Fucking Slipknot! Slipknot are #1 in the UK chart and around the fucking world. Finally, there is some hope, which is ironic given that their 4th album was called All Hope Is Gone. But not only is it fantastic there's a metal album at the top of the album chart, it means that Ed fucking Sheeran has been knocked off the #1 spot. And it's not just Ed Sheeran's music I can't stand, it's that he's happy for his management to charge £200 a ticket for his fans to see him, and he's just a glorified fucking busker. Whereas last time I saw Slipknot, that was 45 quid to get in. There's 9 of them, and they've got fucking flamethrowers. So there's something to be thankful for. Metal, proper music at the top of the chart. Finally, light at the end of the tunnel that isn't a fucking oncoming train.